Oh, really? Okay. What is up, everybody? We're back with another episode of Oneil's Outdoor Podcast, and today we have guest Treason Brown. So I'll let you introduce yourself.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Treason. I'm from Vancouver Island, and I moved out here 10 years ago or so, trying to follow the fish a little bit, do a little bit of hunting.
So we're looking at each other in the camera, trying not to laugh. So,
we spend a little bit of
talking, hunting. So basically, we're just going to shoot the shit. So let's talk about last season. You had a good season.
I had a great season. Yeah, it's probably my best season. Yeah. So I hit the home run season. I cracked out my my muzzleloader buck. 6-point, second day in. Caught him in my spot. He was sitting where I sit. And then I, not too much later, I think 2 or 3 weeks later, I hit a nice big fat doe, not too far away. And I think both were within 30 yards or so. And I picked him up.
In like 200 yards from my fucking stand.
Yeah, well,
I didn't get a shot at any.
Listen, if we're gonna start playing land, I was there first.
Yep.
Yeah.
Roll up to the spot we all park first day rifle season, and there's already 3 cars there. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good.
Yeah, it's a great day. It's a good thing it's good people though, right?
So, exactly.
Yeah. Besides that, I cracked my my bear cherry this year.
The bear cherry.
First year. That doesn't happen to a lot of people. And my intentions were snaring, and I just showed up, and she showed up, and then it was he's got a gun. And then it turned my way. Yeah, it was a hard find though. What about you?
You want to talk about my season? It sucked.
It wasn't that bad.
No, it was a good season. Made new friends. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. The spot I originally had sold. I moved to another spot. A hurricane hit, flattened everything within 10 acres of me. So I went and found another spot, and everybody shot all the deer I had on camera except for me. So
so it's everybody else's fault that you didn't get a deer.
It's my own fault. Yeah. No, I could have shot a couple, and I just passed them up.
Yeah. Well, that's the way it goes, though. Is you're hunting the dream, right? And then, you just wish you had it on the last day, the last week.
This last day of deer season, or second last day, and I passed up a spike horn. I'm like, shouldn't have done that.
Well, it's like, I'm going to get a better one. I'm going to get a better one. And then before you know it, you're dragging your pregnant wife out to drop apples. Because you don't have a deer.
Sitting with me on her due date, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, it was bad. No, it wasn't that bad. I can't complain. I seen a deer every single day.
That's why that place is so great.
To shoot. Yeah,
you don't get bored out there.
No, there's always deer, and it's a perfect travel corridor. And then there's ag, a golf course, all around. So you can't beat it. The pressure's just a little crazy.
Pressure's not the worst I've seen. Like, there's some places close by where you have to find a place to park.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're kind of on the tail end of that.
Yeah. Yeah, if we're smart about it, we can keep it moving.
Yeah, well, we just got to scoot back to, like we were talking about, scoot back a little bit further to where people don't want to go, and like Mike Creek Crossing. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some comfortable people out there, right? They all built their spots, and they like to go out at them and sit in them, and I'm not negating sitting in your stands. You got a good spot sitting it, right? But there's a lot of untouched land out there.
A lot.
Yeah.
That power line just gets pumped so hard.
But it's what the hard part is, I find, is it's the same thing when you get in your car at 4 o'clock in the morning like I do, and you go and you don't make it even out of town, and you got a deer in your crosswalk, you got a deer in the neighbor's yard, and you realize you're about to drive 45 minutes into the woods to hopefully shoot a deer.
Well, that's why we bought bows. We can just scoot the back of a subdivision and shoot one.
Thought about it. But then the downfall is finding it.
Yeah, in somebody's garbage bin.
Yeah, don't hurt the deer.
laying in their garden or something.
That's right. Yeah. No.
Yeah, so we have big plans for next season. We're each going to go get a bear.
Yeah.
And you're probably going to get a couple because you're going to snare one this year.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple still floating because when they're early on, like I think my bear was only a second year bear. So when I started picking them up on camera, I was picking up an individual and then picking up a set. So the set themselves wouldn't. They were probably still first year, pulled off from mom, and didn't really get territorial yet.
Yeah.
So within about a month, I was only getting one coming back, which means they fought over something. And but that one won't go far. They'll still hit with a couple miles. And if there's now that their sister's gone, they're gonna come in and kind of encroach on the food system.
Yeah. Now that their sister's gone, he says. So we're gonna find a couple new spots for whitetail too. What you think?
I'm going to move on. And so I think we should set up one where we keep going because it's always good to have a fallback. I think we should also send one a little further back on that river. So probably a kilometer back on that river I found when I was out partridge hunting. And we'll probably set up a tree stand out there because it's high. And the hardwood is empty. So the visibility is much better than it is up by the power lines.
Be a good bow spot considering we both just bought bows.
Right. And I think we should do that. What we have to figure out is crossing that river system. So whether we put in a pulley system, a winch and cable system, we're going to have to dummy that deer or those deer back across that river.
Yep.
So we're going to have to really think about that. But it'll still be fun.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, some sort of pulley system. At least we tie the deer off and then we can wade across.
We can winch it, yeah. This is all in hindsight if we just don't get comfortable because we might end up setting in a double blind in a nice food plot and throwing a little heater.
Right? Right? And I emailed a farm trying to get access to it's a dairy farm, but their back 40s all hay.
Yeah.
And then there's a nice big section of finger of land that the deer used to funnel across the field, like a shortcut across the field.
Yes.
So I'm trying to get access to bow hunt that. They wouldn't let me rifle hunt it last year. So
yeah. No, bow hunting has that loophole.
Access, yeah, if I can get that access, and I'm like, I'll help you hay.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
I'll help you hay for free, just if I can have hunting access.
Yeah, well, I don't even know if we have a name for that guy that owns that land.
The cornfield.
Yeah, the cornfield that crossed.
Yeah, I have no idea who owns it.
The last that I heard, it was a guy fairly far away that owned all that land. It was untouched, and it's
probably the guy from Hardwood Lands that has thousands of acres in there.
You're absolutely correct. That is on the nose. Yeah,
Scawthorne Farms.
The Scawthorne Farms. Yeah, he owns all that. Never touches it. Never sees it.
Likely. I mean, half the field's washed out. So
yeah. So what's your intentions for a bear? Like, are you going to eat the bear?
I am.
You're gonna eat the bear. Yeah, I'm in that household as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably eat some of it. And honestly, I was thinking it'd be nice to donate part of the bear to Feed Nova Scotia because you can donate venison and bear meat and moose meat to feed. So
you absolutely can, but you're gonna have to check the parameters on processing and tagging.
Yeah, they have to be processed by a butcher.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's a good idea.
Yeah,
well, that depends on the size of the bear.
That. And then, saving stuff for myself. Doing what you do. We'll save the claws. Maybe try to make a pelt out of it. Why not?
That's a good idea. Bare your skull, or
you know how to do all that stuff. So
yeah, I do silly stuff. My wife is absolutely exhausted with going in the freezer for game meat and finding skulls and claws and all sorts. Don't throw that out. That's bait.
Yeah, when you're sitting at the desk there, at your desk, you look to your right and there's just a jar of claws.
Yeah.
So I was playing with them the other day while I was there.
Yeah. I love that shit, man. Everybody's should be getting into that style of work. Everybody should be using and utilizing every part of an animal.
I'm just sitting here looking at my mustache in the camera. Just trying not to laugh at myself.
Yeah. I'm trying not to laugh at you too.
It's getting pretty bad. And fishing season's coming up.
Oh, don't get me started. Tomorrow's my birthday, and all I'm thinking about is April 1st.
You froze.
So I'm like, you're all...
We froze for a second there.
So did you.
So yeah, fishing season's coming up. I
Yeah.
mean, what's your plans for that? Going big?
Day one, I've got my trout spot set out. I'm gonna go. I got this nice shore spot for trout, speckled, average 8 to 10 inches per fish, 3 a day or so. I'll probably 3 a day or so. Yeah. It's also really good, but it's one of those lakes that has other species, but they're like cycle species. So
Yeah.
you'll work your trout for 3 to 4 weeks, and then you'll get your suckers will start to breed, so they'll start pushing the trout. But before that happens, you're going to get the catfish, the brown bellies, that are going to be going for the high breeding leeches, and the leeches will be everywhere. So then you get those going in too. So it's a nice little cycle to work that small one little lake, and it's not a known lake. I might take you there.
I might.
We'll see.
Nice. If you're nice.
It's a great spot. And then you know what? I actually, on my way back from the last time I was going duck hunting, I measured out distance, and as long as we have a way to go out and collect the ducks, we can shoot them right there from where we fish.
Right. We were talking about that before.
Yeah, that's right.
So how many ducks did you kill this year?
A couple pockets full. Dozen.
Yeah. That's pretty good. I mean, at least you got to go. I didn't get to go this year.
Well, that's the funny part is like I'm going to put more work into big game. But I'm way more excited for duck. I don't know why. I think
we got big plans. What do you
big
mean?
Plans,
don't
big
know why.
plans.
We have enough plans for the two of us for next season to do 3 people for 4 seasons.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna be.
It's gonna be a big year. So
yeah. Well, then we're gonna have to set this up like kind of like we're getting married, right? So we're gonna have to get it out, and we're gonna figure out who's packing the flowers, who's the minister. We're gonna have to work this all out because it's gonna be a tight season. It is.
Yeah.
So food plots early, apples early, clearing early, get our stands out early, scout twice a week.
I want to start scouting like those spots we talked about. What's the date today? 27th? Mid-March.
Yeah, mid-March.
Once it starts to thaw and everything thaws up.
Yeah, I'll be in Cape Breton for a week mid-March. So we come back from there.
We'll start when we come back.
Yeah. I think the first thing we should do, I think we should get out now for a day at least before the snow drops and check some samples. You know, like we can do that.
We gotta go retrieve the camera, or I have to anyway. Retrieve the camera from the creek crossing, or at least put new batteries in it.
Yeah,
but I think I'm gonna pull it right out of there until August.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll do some quick shed hunting too. So if you want to come bear hunting, you can still bait. So what we'll need to do is we'll get you a barrel. I'll start getting you some food. Yeah, and we got to find you a good spot because bears are territorial, right? So you gotta grab a spot that's gonna be good. I think I know a good spot for you anyway. I might make this easy for you.
I know a spot.
Do you?
Yeah, it's the middle Muscataba where I deer hunt.
That's not easy though.
No, it's 45 minutes.
Yeah, what you need to do is you have to be able
to the dirt road, and then it's another 20 back.
You're right. With a new baby, that's going to be really easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need a spot that's like within 5 minutes. You need something where you're going to be able to.
We could go back to like the Mersey, the Bowater.
Oh yeah, maybe.
There's some good spots back there, like where my deer stand was there too. There's some nice spots back there. It's full of bear back there.
Yeah, the key is you gotta keep it full, because bears are, they're like a good girlfriend. As long as you keep them committed to a good barrel of, try not to laugh, keep them committed to a good barrel of food, they'll keep coming back. As the day that barrel is empty, they move on. They won't come back. Yeah, I mean, they might come back in a month after they've checked everybody else.
Coming back.
That's right. I'm the same way.
Keep this up, right?
Yeah. No, that's the way it works. So if we're looking for ducks, now we got to figure out like a few more duck spots as well. So we got to get on the water.
You bought a blow up.
Yeah, we're good for that, but that's not going to be good for everywhere. So like
no.
Not here.
Don't say.
Oh, fuck off. No,
No,
you gotta.
let's just poke that out the Atlantic Ocean, go up the coast, and
Yeah.
find a spot for sea ducking.
Well, there's a few spots that we can go to that it might be okay, but there's a lot of jagged rocks around here, and I don't know how good of a swimmer you are. I'm okay. I'm all right. I'll
I can,
hold up, but I'm not taking you home.
I mean, I can hold my own for 6 or 7 minutes, I think.
We're still talking about swimming, right?
Yeah, we're still talking about swimming. If I was, never mind. Anyway, so and are you put in for a moose tag?
That's so rough. That's so hard because I don't want to put in for a moose tag because I don't want to get my hopes up. Like
Right.
if I was to just first drive out and get a moose tag, I might take the tag over my wife leaving me. Because if she was like, "No, you can't. No, you can't have this money. No, 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 no." I'm going to go, "But," and then I'm not going to hear anything after that.
Right. No, I'm gonna put in. I put in every year, but I think I'm gonna put in again this year.
That's not how it works though. You put in every year, you're never going to get it. You got to put
No,
in
well, actually,
once and you'll
I
get
didn't
it.
put in last year or the year before. No,
No.
just last year.
No.
Didn't put in last year.
Do you doe tag draw locally?
No,
Why not?
I'll just go to a doe zone if I want to shoot a doe that bad.
Yeah, but like you can
We hunt a doe zone.
well, yeah, but if you ever wanted to try new zones, like if you ever wanted to head south on the island, like you could find other zones and then pick up something if you wanted to expand. Like no, you're like no, no.
Now that I gotta pay for another tag.
They don't. Well, like eight
Well, I gotta
dollars,
pay for the draw, and then
$8,
wallet's a little
eight
thin right now.
dollars, $8, $8.
No, yeah, I probably will. Yeah, no, I probably will. I'll probably apply for a doe tag and down home.
Throw it in anyway. Exactly. That way, if you're home on the weekend, you're still hungry just because you didn't get your 18 point. You can shoot a doe at home and not tell anybody. What do you use to shoot, by the way? I forget.
What?
What do you use to shoot?
I got a Browning A Bolt 3 270.
Oh, fuck. Here I was thinking you just threw rocks. Okay.
Well, I mean, my success rate says I throw rocks.
That's right. I hit one. He looked at me, and then we both went our ways.
Yeah. No, that was me with the muzzleloader this year. Shot at it. It looked at me, turned around, and running in the woods.
Yep.
I was like, huh, all right. I was firing the muzzleloader at 100 yards, the range. Yep. Perfectly fine. Hitting every shot. Shot a deer, or little spike horn walked out across the road, and I was like, well, I think I'm going to shoot that.
Was this last year?
This year. Laid down. Yeah, laid down. Put my gun on my pack. Got all ready, and he turned right straight towards me, so I waited, and as soon as he turned broadside, I lined it up and pulled the trigger, and it went right under him.
What? Really?
Yep.
That's brutal.
100 yards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 100 yards is pretty rough, but... Because it was the gun. You know what's really funny is last year...
I wanted a bow hunt, so...
Yeah. Last year, before I knew you, my buddy messaged me, our common friend of interest, and goes, "Hey, I sent my buddy up to where you're hunting. Look what he got." And he sends me a picture of your deer. And he's like, "Yeah, he was just walking down the road, and there it was in the field." And it was a 4-point.
The 3-point I shot 2 years ago?
The 3-point, yeah. He sent me a picture of it and everything. Yeah. You shot it high. But I showed up the next day. Yeah, I showed up the next day to hunt, and you gutted it at the top of the road.
I had to. By the time I got out of the woods, it was dark, and I had to use my headlights to gut it.
I was dying to know, now that I have you here and know who you are, where did you shoot it in that field?
The very bottom corner.
You drug it all the way up from the very bottom corner? No. Did you come up through the
No,
path, or did you drag it to the road and drive down?
his friend come up with a 4-wheeler and brought it up as far as my car because it was dark
Whose
and I
friend?
didn't have my flashlight died. One of
TJ's
one
friend?
of TJ's friends. Yeah, live
Ah.
up the road.
Oh,
Anyway, he
okay,
come up
okay.
and we loaded up. I drug it out to the road and we threw it on his racks and drove it up to my
Yeah.
car. And I turned my car
Okay.
on and got it in the headlights at like 9:30 at night. By the time I got
That's
it up there,
hilarious. I was fresh
well,
for
I
the
got
hunt. I
110
came out.
pounds of meat off the thing.
Did you really? That's pretty good.
Yeah,
110 pounds of meat
yeah,
off of it.
yeah, straight up steaks and burger. Yeah,
Baloney.
but like deboned. No, dead ass. I'm pretty sure it was
Uh,
like a 8 or 10 year old deer with just really shitty genetics. He was fat.
really? Yeah.
It had fat on it
Yeah.
like that thick.
Yeah. I pulled a 113-pound doe out of that place.
Hmm.
Like, and I
Yeah.
pulled it in at a pack of 4 at about like 4 minutes to dusk. But it was the same thing. Is when I shot it, I swore like the back on it was that's the biggest buck I've ever seen with no antlers.
Well, I was sitting there and I had 4 days off and I hunted 3 in Chester and didn't see anything. So the fourth one, TJ's like, we'll just go here. And by the time I got out there, it was like 5 o'clock and it's dark at 5:30.
Yeah.
So so I was like walking down and I call him up and he told me where to go to that bottom part of the field. So I call him up and
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, it's just like, you can tell this is where he told me, like, not really giving a shit. I pretty much lost all morale and motivation at that point. And he's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, just sit there, you'll see a deer. And I look up and I was like, oh yeah, there's one. Hung up the phone. And that's freehanded, 128 yards, freehand. And they double lunged it, perfect shot, and it's right down. Best
Three
shot I
three
ever made.
twenty
It was
eight from
freehand.
the back corner
128 from where I was
from so
standing
you would have been by
to
the
that
road
corner.
uphill to the corner.
I was standing, like, I walked into where that tree is in the middle,
Yeah.
like where the bank drops off,
Yeah.
and I shot
Oh, and you
down in
shot.
right at that corner.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah,
That would be logical
100.
because at that
I
time,
ranged it at 128.
yeah, if you were opposite at that time, the sun would have been in your face. You wouldn't have been able to make that shot.
No, the sun, like, the sun was hitting it, like, sitting on the top of the trees.
Yeah.
Like, I could barely see him. I could barely see it. I seen reflection on the antlers, and I
Yeah.
was like, shoulder bang.
Did he
And
go
he
for
just
it?
10
Yeah.
yards.
Yeah.
It was like the most blood I've ever seen. Like the best shot I've ever hit on a deer. And I freehanded it. I caught scope in the forehead and everything. First deer I shot in 4 years, mind you.
So
That I was
don't get me
so
started.
excited.
Yeah, well,
I
that's
was
what
so
happens, right?
excited. It was like first time I laid crosshairs on a buck in like 4 years. I shot a doe 3 years before that.
Mhm.
So it's like I was fucking fired up.
Oh man, I don't know how you
So I
do that.
seen
I nail a deer every year. Like if I don't, I feel like I got kicked in the balls. Does that make sense?
yeah. Yeah. No, I
Like
do.
I understand. I don't like to like I like the idea of sporting deer. I like big racks. I like the idea of it, but I don't like to fall out empty on a season because that's a long time to sit around and wait for the next one.
And cry. I'm still crying.
Yeah, I bet you are.
No, what got me crying is I moved my camera to that creek crossing with a week left. The day that closes, that huge 8 point
Yeah,
is walking through there in daylight. I was like,
yeah, yeah.
fuck.
If there's anything that
But it is
place
what
is
it is.
notorious for, is early season big bucks walking in on your cameras, and you're like, wicked. I'm gonna feed this guy for the next 2 months, and I'm gonna eat him, and then they're gone like smoke.
Yeah. Well, we seen one person, but how many gunshots did you hear opening day?
Like 4 or 5 at least within the
I heard
hour
at
I was
least,
there.
yeah, at least 5 within the first hour of daylight.
Yeah,
And then the
like
second day,
people
4 or 5 more.
at, every night of
Yeah.
muzzleloader, they were cracking 3, 4 every night.
Yeah.
Within the last 15 minutes of dusk, you're just hoping to God one wasn't within a kilometer.
Yeah.
But you know what? Then I got to be that. I got to be that guy at 3:30 who took off work early, who went into his spot, loaded up his muzzle loader, crouched into his spot, and eyeballed a deer and shot it at close to 4 o'clock. And I bet everybody else went, shit.
I like the one where you hear the four-wheelers going up the power line, and you just know, like, oh, right, well, now we know that deer in everybody's backyards instead of back here. So
yeah, that's right.
Just sound carries through there, and it just drives them right out. Be sitting there, be like, every day for 6 days, you got 4 or 5 does on camera, and then you go in, you're like, I might smack a doe tonight, and you get in there and you sit, wind's perfect, scent's perfect, no deer. You drive out the road, and there's 14 in the neighbor's fucking yard. Why?
Yeah.
Because buddy drove down the road on his four-wheeler.
Yeah. The only concept of tracking, like wholeheartedly tracking a deer that I've had, is every morning when I'd park my car, before I'd walk in, I would see the same track of does come in over the farm every morning, and they would come down the same path, same line, same deer, and I would sit in my car, and they would cross behind my car within 20 feet. And I picked off the biggest one in the group every time, and I kept saying, "You're mine, you're mine, you're mine." and then I would follow them, and I tracked them. And this was 2 years ago, and it was one of those moments, you're sitting, it's like 3 minutes to legal, and you're like ready to get up, and you go, "No, I got a couple 100 seconds here," and you wait, and then all of a sudden you just see the shadows move in. And I picked off the biggest shadow, and guess who it was, right? Like it's those small differences that make the hugest difference.
Yeah.
I like that, but again, that's all time and preparation, and it's exciting and it's fun, and I want it to be difficult, but I find the how easy it is to be difficult with duck hunting way more fun.
It makes up for it.
It's so easy.
Yeah, we'll have fun this year as like new bow hunters. I think that'll make it a really interesting year.
Yeah, I haven't been frustrated in a while.
With a bow, but
I don't know, man. I wasn't comfortable shooting a bear. You shoot a bear. I shot my bear with a 308, and it wasn't dead right away, and I was not comfortable following that bear.
No. Oh, no, you got to back out and wait several hours on a bear.
I waited about 45 before we started to spray to check for blood, because that's the downfall of bears, is like they hold blood. It only goes into their fur, and they're so fatty that they don't bleed out like a deer. They don't just juice and then run.
No. Yeah.
No, this bear made it, laid down, got back up, went, tracked again, and then hid in its den. But it's just, you don't want to be right behind it. You're going to die if you're right behind it.
Yeah. Well, you had to crawl then to pull it out.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So like finding the bear alone was frustrating. We spent the better part of an hour on our hands and knees finding the smallest tracks of blood and trying not to get ahead of it, creating a mess of where we were going. And then when we found the den, we just kind of, oh, what if he's in there? Or what if she's in there? And threw a lantern in, and well, there it is. So then the question is who's going in to get it? But now it's in the freezer. So
nerve-wracking.
The only other time I was that sweaty is when I got married.
Yeah.
She too can claw my face off. But no, it was a very successful feeling until dragging it out. When we got it out, gutted, cleaned, my car was too far to go get the sled that we used to strap it up and drag it out. So what ended up happening is we just Jimmy rigged it to a branch and carried it out, tied it up, zip stripped it to the branch. And man, I'm telling you, it made me not want to do it again. The bear, I would say the bear wasn't huge, but 240. Like, and that was enough for me to want to, and where I picked to put my barrel, I wanted to go somewhere where people weren't going to go. So I went through, I have a bog line You know, I go up through hardwoods, I go down through a bunch of thorns. Like I really made it difficult, and then I cleared it out. But where we tracked the bear wasn't anywhere near what I cleaned out. So to get it out was just raw bush, and it was too much. And then that was Thanksgiving Day, and that was the second bear that day, because my other hunting buddy, he picked up his on that day too. Yeah. So my buddy Zach ended up picking up. Yeah, we snared one early that night, and early the previous night, and we went out that morning, did a little bit of bird hunting, came back, his was snared. And we walked in, took it out, brought it out. And that was actually really neat because it was down a river system. So I've never had to take an animal out through a river before. So it adds a whole new perspective to getting it out. Because you can't just drag it. You can't carry it because you're going to blow your back out. So it was neat to hip wade your way down and get the animal out without it dragging or getting full of water or anything like that. So then put that up in the rack and then off with the second bear. But that'll never happen again. Never. Unless you want it
to. Imagine wanting it to. Some people love it. Some people love packing out, carrying stuff. I know one guy who shoot a deer and he'll lug it on his shoulders as far as he can just to say he could.
Yeah. Oh man, if I could record everything I say from where I find the deer to where I drag it, I don't think you could air it anywhere. You know, like it's not fun. I don't know why people do it. You know, and then you can't wait to do it again. You know, like it's like a slapstick comedy watching me try and shove 180-pound deer in a trunk of a car in the middle of the night, completely exhausted from dragging it half a kilometer out of the woods. You know, like it's it's
just when I shot that 3-point that year, first year I had my SUV, I'm like, fuck yeah, I got lots of space to put a deer in the back, not thinking of how difficult it's going to be to get a deer in the back.
Bingo.
It's like I got it, and then of course I didn't want to. It was muddy. It was fucking raining, so everything was mud. And you know what that spot is? That pit is at the top of the hill. It's just fucking mud. So I'm trying to get it in the trunk of my car, and I can't. And I had it all field dressed, and the pelt was still on it. You know, negative like fucking 10. And I'm trying to get it in. And I got so annoyed with it after like 20 minutes of fighting with it. I just like threw it over my shoulders as much as I could. It just dove into my trunk. The whole side of my SUV, the whole side of it, like nice, like light interior. You've seen it, light interior. The whole side of it, the roof was full of blood and mud. And then the back bumper was full of blood and mud. I think I left the blood on the back bumper for like 2 months.
So did I. Mine's still dried up.
I was like, fuck it. There's fine. I don't want to.
I got a process to getting a deer in the trunk now. I've done it enough times that there is a process. And this year I did perfect how to do it because, you know, there's the amount of dead weight that you get from one and just the angle you got to get it in a car. Most people aren't shoving a deer in a car. But if you are, there is a science to it after 5 or 6 tries.
Yeah, that spot that I want to take you to Muscadabbit. There was a bridge that was washed out, and I shot my deer there. The first year I was out there, I shot a little spike, and same situation. It was like 4 years before I shot it, like between the last time I shot a deer. So I shot a little spike horn, and I pulled it up onto the bridge, and it was washed out enough I could back my Mazda down to the bridge, pop the trunk, and just slide the deer off the bridge into the trunk, which was nice. But trying to get out or get a deer in it, like my buddy would hit a deer and he'd call me up like, Brad, hit a deer, do you want it? I'm like, fuck yeah, we'll use that for coyote bait. And then go get the deer.
What do you mean coyote bait? That's not coyote bait, that's freezer bait, man. If it's still good, you check it.
Oh, if it's still good, yeah, but when you hit it with a 3/4 ton truck at 120 kilometers an hour, it's not much left of it.
It's a funny story. Me and my buddy got a a call for a. He calls me and goes, "Hey, listen, I got a road deer," and I went, "Okay." He's like, it's a little old, it smells a little bit, but I think it's still good." So I said, "Sure, no problem." He said, "Meet me at my house, we'll clean her out." I said, "No problem." I get to his house, he pops the trunk of his car, and it's pretty foul coming out the car. So we hung it up anyway. So this thing's probably been dead 6 hours. Had the guts blown out of it. Back leg was broken. Antler was missing. You know, it was pretty messed up deer. Anyway, like it was still like fresh enough. So we're in there. We're kind of gagging because of the smell. We're cleaning it out. We're washing it out. We're going. And then as we're quartering down to the bottom, we pull out a little piece of the front end of a Buick because it still has half the Buick logo of the front bumper. The deer. We ended up naming it Bumper. So when we packed all the meat, we did like bumper front leg, bumper left side. It's good meat.
Ew. I didn't want a deer that bad this year. I mean, they only hit like 45 between 3 exits, so
yeah.
probably could have
man,
easily
there's so
had
many
some meat
everywhere.
this year.
Yeah.
There's like 6.
If you really wanted
within
them,
the last week, there's 6 fresh ones out there.
Yeah, somebody needs to start a Facebook group just on quick roadkill for pickups.
Yeah. Between in the last week, I've been traveling in Truro to work.
Yeah.
And between the Lance exit and Stewiacke, there was 6 deer hit last week.
Yeah. Yeah. They're really on the move. It's that cold snap, right? Got them moving.
Yeah. Yeah, that -40.
Yeah, get me moving too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the way it's gonna end up being for a little bit now, a couple weeks. No, I'm pretty damn excited. I'm eager for fishing season here. I don't want to say I want to fill the freezer, but I want to be able to get out as much as I can. I want to be able to fill the freezer without filling the freezer, you know. So last year I bagged a lot of trout, and I didn't go through them as fast as I wanted. So on the half side of it, I want to be able to cook more of them than just catch more of them. So I need more opportunities out. So like for example, if you and I were to go out and fish, I'd rather cook some more on the spot than take them home.
Why not just fry them right up and eat them while we're catching more.
It takes minutes to catch these fish if you go to the right spot, right? And I'll never argue just your basic swivel spinner and worm. You don't need a $10 lure to catch these fish.
No.
You just got to be there before the fly hatch when they're hungry.
True.
Yeah.
That's one thing I can never find the interest of doing is fly fishing. I don't know if I just didn't have the attention span to learn or what.
No, we're going to be forced to.
You think so?
It's the same thing. Yeah, well, do you think I want to bow hunt? Do you think I want to go sit and miss deer and go find arrows? No, I would rather shoot a deer comfortably. Yeah, well, that's going to happen because you shoot enough deer easy, you want to...
Challenge.
That's it. It is the challenge, right?
Yeah, but the gun thing is a little insane. So we're going to see how that turns out.
Which gun thing is that?
All the restrictions they're trying to put on.
Well, that's in its own right, but yeah, we won't turn it that way.
Yeah, we won't discuss that, but we all. I think we're all. I
don't think we'll have any issues with hunting rifles now that that's backed
Hopefully
off.
Not.
I think whatever they want to do with handguns, fine. I like to sport shoot myself, but if that's their prerogative, I would rather them restrict handguns versus what feeds my family. And if I had to pick one of the two, I'll settle for the handgun. That's fine.
Yeah.
The price of ammunition, I will settle comfortably.
Handguns, but yeah, exactly. I mean, if I can feed my family, then I'm happy, right?
I mean, you know what the ironic part is?
Then don't shoot anything. So
yeah. Well, you know what? Soon enough, I said you were you're the guy that throws rocks at deer. soon enough that might be true. That might be how you take your deer out. And you'll be 2 steps ahead of everybody.
That's right. I'm just going to start ambushing them with boulders.
Yeah. That'd be a great idea. So have you had any luck with like, so when you hunt your deer, do you call? Do you ambush? Do you rattle? Like, I don't do any of, I don't do that. I don't do any of that.
It's hit or miss. Rattling, you don't want to rattle in an area where there's a lot of pressure. You don't want to call in an area there's a lot of pressure, because chances are they've already been rattled and called at and have learned, hey, that could potentially be danger. That might not be a buck and a doe trying to get at it, or 2 bucks fighting.
Yeah. So the deeper we go, the more
that's going to kill me. So
absolutely.
So, but if I'm in a spot, there's a couple spots I used to hunt where there was no pressure and not a lot of human like interaction whatsoever. Just a doe and heat bleak hand, called a doe in. Yeah. She come 300 yards down the chop and walked 15 feet away from us, looked at us, was like, oh shit, blew and took off running. And I was like, holy shit, that was cool. And then went to another spot and rattled. And, 3 minutes later, it runs a little spike horn. And he's like nosing around, seeing what's going on, and then let him walk. And then my buddy's got another spot where he's the only one who hunts it. He can grunt, and within minutes, there's bucks running in.
Really?
Yep.
I've never had the nuts to do that. I've always been an ambush. I figure out their patterns and I just get there before them.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's always worked for me, but
I do it all depending on the area. Like I'll go try, like in Shuby, I tried calling, and I think a little doe come out, probably just a yearling. I was like, oh cool, maybe they'll respond to calls. So I tried rattling. Once the rut picked up and no response, so I pretty much.
They have such a late rut out there, right? Yeah, their rut is so late. Yeah, every last couple of years, it's been like late December before they really have that hard push.
Yeah, they were starting to they were in the pre-rut. They were chasing fairly early this year, I found, but they seem to chase a lot longer before going into the actual, the breeding, the lockdown stages. Than normal. But I blame it on the hurricane. But
I would too. Yeah, I find like on this side of the it pushes them. But this side of the island, they don't have the same type of cycles as they do, say, if you go more south on the island. Like here, you'll get the average of maybe 1-2 young bucks per 3-4 does. But if you move south, you have, within 3 to 4 hours, you'll have a run of 10 does, 5-6 bucks to mature. Like they're so much more active in tighter circles south than they are. And I don't know if that has anything to do with like human population, road crossings or whatnot, but they just seem to be such smaller groups here.
Yeah. Well, where we are, but then once you move like up north a little ways again, it's just herds, 20, 30 of them, right?
Yeah, they're free for all. They're everywhere. And that's funny too, is you'll see no bucks and you'll see 30 does.
Mm-hmm. Or you'll see a shitload of bucks and no does.
3 or 4 bucks.
It seems to be really scattered. You get your pockets, right? Like, this spot's got a lot of deer. This spot's got some deer. This spot's got like buck to doe ratio is 1 in 10. And then this spot, there's 2 does for every buck. And it's just a fucking frenzy, and it's fun as hell to hunt. But there's so many people that hunt there, it makes it a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
To even find a spot to set up.
Yeah. What's been picking up, I find lately, is the fellas I talk to in Cape Breton. So like the hunting in Cape Breton fell off for quite some time for deer.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty hard. And then everybody kind of like pulled away from it. A lot of goose, but my God, the goose in Cape Breton. Wow. But the deer, I've been getting videos sent to me of ridiculous amounts of deer, really close to town lately. Big bucks. I think they've been left alone long enough that they've started to really incorporate their circles again. to really like push themselves out.
I think there's a few guys in Cape Breton that got some nice deer. There was one guy who I'm pretty sure he tagged out like both tags on some big deer. So.
Big Fort, there was yeah. So he lives up in out by Seal Island Bridge, and he tagged 2 at least 14-point deer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were very large. Yeah, monstrous deer. And I actually commented to him and I said, "Thanks for killing the only 2 bucks in Cape Breton."
Yeah,
they've been drowned out, right? But they're doing so much better now, and I think it's because there's not a lot of people go there for moose and they go there for goose, and that's it.
Yeah, you're probably.
That's
right.
And that's the other thing that we need to adapt to is goose. Like we have so much, man. We have so much goose here. But I've tried.
I like leaving the deer stand where we hunt, and as soon as you come off the exit, you look straight across, and there's guys goose hunting.
1,000 goose.
And you can see them. You can see them from the highway, and the guys are just there blasting them. You watch them just fall. It's cool as fuck.
So that's that. I was actually going to mention that and see what you thought about that. So the where we hunt is great deer spot. You can hunt it for the rest of your life. You play it right. But how many times you've been sitting there at 5 o'clock in the morning like me and had 200 honkers go over and every morning. If I let these go every morning, and if I let these go and I don't shoot a deer today, I wasted a limited goose day. Yep. But you don't want to put that kind of pressure on your deer spot either.
Yeah.
If you even do.
Yeah. So, I mean, we could push for permission to hunt the cornfield after they cut it.
You could hunt the clearing
and ruin everybody else's deer spots.
We're legal to hunt our spot now. If you want to find goose in a clearing, you just gotta watch them.
Yeah, if you want to try to get them to come in there, yeah.
Yeah, you can get them. You could definitely
get them on that river.
I bet you we can get them in that cornfield on the top of the power lines.
Yeah, that's what I meant. You probably just go set them up there and just ruin the guy who wants the cornfield spot for deer.
Yeah, is that the same guy that hunts the other side?
I don't know.
I say I've been sitting there at dusk and just hearing honkers all day long. So if I'm legal to shoot there, I'm going to do it.
Might as well.
Give it a try. Might as well share. We're a sharing community. Welcome to Canada.
Yeah.
What we need to do is...
I want to go turkey hunting so fucking bad.
I don't know. I'm not... Of all the things I could hunt out there, my least draw is turkey. And I know they're frustrating, and I know the draw is the difficulty, but I'm just not interested in a turkey. I don't know why. Maybe I will be.
I want to kill everything once.
I agree. Right? Yeah. So where do you want to go?
Why not? Turkey hunting?
Yeah.
Let's go to Ontario and steal all CJ's turkeys.
Oh, Jesus. That's far. That's far for a turkey.
No.
Yes. If you wanted to say mountain lion or...
over there, too. Well, let's go to northern Alberta, and we'll shoot muleys and elk.
Northern Alberta, they get 6 tags a year. We can shoot a lot more than that.
Yeah, but muleys and elk especially, because we don't have them here. And wolf.
Snow geese.
And if we can get into the mountain lions or mountain goats.
Mountain goats would be fun. We can shoot everything.
Yep.
There's a lot here that people don't utilize, though. There's a lot here people don't utilize. Like it's a pretty wide region, and if people just kind of went a little bit north, a little bit east, a little bit west, you're going to end up picking up other species in different jurisdictions that'll allow you to do certain things.
Yeah, especially if you're a trapper.
That's right. That's why I picked that up, just because I'm willing to try anything, man. I won't eat coyote, maybe once with you, but that's about it.
I think we should try it. Fuck it. Why not?
Really? Why?
Why not?
I don't.
People have before.
I'll do it to say I ate coyote, but it's not very
try
common.
everything once, right?
I'll try everything
No,
once.
we gotta go.
But
We gotta go deep in the woods where they're not eating stray cats and dog shit and dumpsters.
Yeah,
Where they're not eating
but
complete trash every day.
do you understand how hypocritical I sound right now when I'm like, I won't eat a coyote, but that freezer right there is full of a bear that I fed donuts and popcorn and dead fish, and he's been rummaging through everything. He's probably eaten some porcupines.
Yeah. Well, what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's likely ate a few carcasses, right?
Yeah, well, he's picked up some dead stuff. I'm sure she.
Yeah.
So
Well,
my
why
issue
not?
my issue with dogs is not so much the
dog.
parasite. It's a dog, but it eats the feces of other animals, and that's the most common issue.
But does a dog eat the feces of other animals or just their own?
No, well, that's kind of how parasites are passed around. Like if you look at the two-stage larva of the tapeworm, is that the larva starts in smaller animals. Worms will start in like rats and rabbits, and they'll do first stage larval. And then when they get passed through either feces or the carcass of the animal eaten by a predator, they hit the two stage where it hatches into the actual parasite. Same thing with bears.
Right.
When you have omnivores that'll end up picking up a carcass or picking up fecal matter, anything like that, that's kind of the deterrent. But if you got a slow cooker, it don't matter.
Yeah.
You know what? And this
You
was
slow
the
cook
issue
anything.
with you can slow cook anything. Well, the last bit of bear I did, I slow cooked for 10 hours and then took the meat and I did, like smashed it into burgers. That was the best burgers I ever had. You know? Like it's all there. It's all worth it. It's all worth a try. You just got to be smart about it.
I think that's one thing we should do. We should do, like, because we want to make a lot of content this year, we should do a series where we just try random shit. Let's try coyote. Let's do raccoon, porcupine. Fuck it.
Okay, so I'm willing to try anything, but
Squirrel,
here's another
frog.
thing. I had a guy that I used to go fishing with that told me that raccoon in the Asian countries is worth about $100 a pound because they have it there as well, and it's such a delicacy that it's $100 a pound. So he has friends here. Are you good?
Yeah, we're good.
So he has a friend here who has a bunch of chicken coops, and in return for protecting the chicken coops from raccoons, he gets to keep them, and he cooks them full out, which is pretty damn amazing. So, yeah, because they're in his country. He says they're top notch. They're the best you can get. Everybody eats them, right? But again, now raccoons have the magical P word, right? The parasite, and that's what everybody's concerned about. If only they knew what was in everything.
Wow. That's a story for another time.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, when I look at it, I'm like,
that can go deep. Yeah, squirrel, fuck it.
Squirrel's
How much trouble would we get for eating a turtle?
I wouldn't eat a turtle.
Probably a lot.
We can not a turtle here. Not a turtle here.
Not
like
here.
If we had no. Our systems aren't built for turtles.
Nah, sea cucumber would be cool too. Never tried that.
We can do that. I was looking up the.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we are gonna dive, and we're gonna dive because sea urchins are on the list because they're a thing. Sea stars
are you able
also
to recreational dive sea urchins.
It's kind of like a whole selling the bear meat concept. There's a large gray area on it where like nobody really gathers them, and there's no like.
There's probably not much of a market now. I know there used to be a big market for sea urchin.
Yeah, so it's kind of the same way that.
Years.
Yeah, you'll end up. As long as you don't do it in a provincial park and you can pick an area a couple 100 meters off of shore, you'll be fine to dive and grab them.
Well, dive and spearfish is what too? What did you say?
What's that?
How far from shore do you have to be to spearfish?
You don't have to be too far. What you have to be is about 40 to 50 meters from any provincial park or area that the government owns. But you
and
can
you
do
have
it in
to
any.
go ahead.
I was going to say you have to do it away from not too far away. So it's the same as kind of clam digging. You wouldn't clam dig a provincial park, but if you were to say go up the
No.
coastline so far, a couple hundred meters, you'd be fine. As long as it's not accessible that you're going to accidentally shoot someone in the foot or, you know what I mean.
And you have to, what was it? You have to return your, like every kill, every catch you have to return
That's right. So
to
you can
the beach.
yes. So you can legally shoot. Not too much here. You can't spear much in Nova Scotia. You can spear eels. You can spear
And cod, isn't it?
cod, tom cod. I believe there's another little fish you can spear, but it's nothing. It's nothing that great. And it's a return policy. So it's much like duck. You got to go and retain your kill immediately. But for the sake of gathering, if you were to say wanted to go grab a couple of sea urchins, I don't think it's going to be an issue because there is no limitation, no laws, nothing built around it yet until a bunch of people grab onto it, which is the issue.
Well, typical. And then what was I gonna say? Yeah, so sea urchin would be cool.
Yeah, well, like anything with an exoskeleton, you can technically eat. Anything a bear eats, you can eat because they figured it out. So you watch what a bear's dietary patterns are when it comes to low tides and salt waters. You can eat all the same stuff. They'll find it. They'll know, right? You can pick up anything. You might even be able to eat a sand dollar for all I know. They're an urchin, right? I don't know what kind of urchin. That'd be cool to try, and I like bottom feeding fish. They're pretty cool.
I'm trying to process on how you would even do that.
What's that?
What? Sand
what are you trying to process?
Process.
Oh well, they're basically a crawling sea urchin. So when you see them, they're an urchin, and then that's them without it. But you can eat the whole damn thing. Yeah. If you crack open a sea star, they're actually quite meaty, like just as meaty as a sea cucumber. Yeah, and sea cucumbers and sea urchins and sea stars, they're all found in the general same area. So it's tidal water, shallows, rocks, quick salt removal, zero predator, funneled areas, right? They all feed in the same type of area. So when you go down, you're going to find all the same thing. The downfall is going to be really dark. So that's more of a flashlight kind of scenario. Like we don't have that active water that everybody else does, unless we went to the South Shore. If we went towards the South Shore, we'd have that ability where we could see a lot more. We could see real far, and we might have to do that. It's cold water, but we can do it. I personally, I'd like to dive, hit yourself with a wetsuit and go hit underneath the rocks because you're going to find some really amazing stuff in the Atlantic provinces in the deep rocks. Anyway, like we've had this conversation, the smellier the tide, the better the food.
Yeah.
Even kelp, if we wanted to have like a seaweed wrap, we could go collect everything we find, wrap it in a seaweed kelp and smoke it in the sand. You could do a lot with just where you're at when it comes to that stuff. Right?
Collect, rockweed, dulse and shit, right?
Oh yeah, loads of
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I find is really funny. Like when it comes to shellfish, that has the most restriction. With anything else. I was told flat out I was not allowed to dive for rock crab. Flat out. No rules, no regulations. Nobody collects them. Just no. Or lobster. Just no.
No.
Just don't do it.
You can scallop though. You have to buy a license, but you can dive for scallop.
$50, yeah. Scallop would be fun.
It. And it's like so much. I think it's so many a day. I can't remember the numbers.
Yeah, it's less than 20. I know that. But I don't know a lot about scallops. All I know is that there's a meaty part and then stuff you don't eat.
I could show you.
I have zero knowledge on them.
I don't think I could explain it. Like I'd have to have one in my hand to show you how. I don't think I could actually explain it. Because basically all it's the scallop, actual scallops in the middle, and all the reproductive organs are around it. So when you pop your shell, you want to remove all the reproductive organs, and then you just pop the scallop off.
Yeah. I want to see if there's a correlation. I want to see if there's a correlation between the quantity of clams that you're allowed to dig versus the quality of clam. Because I find in some regions you're allowed to dig, say, 100 a person, and it's fine grained sand, and they're well filtered, so they're not grainy. They're good clams to eat. And the areas that you find where you can dig 300 per person, you'll never get them clean. You'll never get them clean. They're just, you might as well just eat sand, So I wonder if there's a correlation between the two, or if it's just regional, or whether people eat them there.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
I mean, you never really know what they're thinking when they put in all these regulations or anything. So
no,
I haven't seen the studies. I haven't seen the paperwork on why they do it. I just know I can't. Know I can. And
yeah,
that's what I stick to.
Well, I in my entire life, I've only seen games and fisheries once, and really? I mean, I've been fishing and digging 25 years at least.
Yeah.
So it's funny because the time I found that I saw games and fisheries is I was going to go net Gasboro for striper bass bait, and I pulled up to the river where I was going to go. Oh yeah, we're going to do it. It's so much fun. This is something you take the kids on. You get them knee deep in the water with a net. Like this is something they'll remember. This is core memory type of stuff. But I showed up, and when I got to my spot, there was a bunch of games and fisheries trucks, and I was confused because it's not a well-known spot. But there was a guy in a truck. I said, "What's going on?" And he said, "Well, you're about to see." And before he even finished that sentence, about 15 or 20 people with buckets came jumping over the guardrails, dumping out all their fish, running up the road. So there was a bunch of people down there that were like super overfishing. And I mean overfishing, because you get 20 a person a day, right? So they probably had 200-300 per bucket per person, and it was all in cahoots. So it was a whole plan. But there was just the street for 200 meters was flapping. And there was just people in flip-flops running as fast as they could, and I'd never laughed so hard.
Yeah, that'd be something to see.
Oh, yeah.
I've never run into fisheries while fishing.
No.
No. I got stopped by a game warden once, but that's just because he stopped everybody at the end of the road. It's just a dirt road that people drive down to hunt, and I went up to my grandfather's hunting camp, and I ended up shooting a coyote. So I was on my way back out to take the coyote to a guy I know who sells the pelts. So I got stopped, and he basically he had the road blocked off, and asked me if I seen anything. Checked my gun, checked my licenses, and he's like, "Did you see anything?" I was like, "No, yeah, shot a coyote." And he's like, "Oh, nice." I was like, "Yeah, it's in the trunk. You want to see it?" Pop open the trunk. That's it. He's like, "Okay, have a good day."
Beautiful.
Not a problem.
Yeah. One less coyote.
Sweet. I was like shitting myself, right? Your typical, you roll around the corner and there's a game warden, or same with the police or like fisheries. You're like, oh, fuck, what are they going to get me for? Like, what are they going to dig for now? You never know.
Well, but that all comes with age. Like as you get older, they become less of an enemy and more of a friend, because once you reach a certain age, it's yet the young guys that the old guys don't like. And I don't want to sound like that, because I used to be the young guy that didn't like the old guys. But I didn't like the old guys because they wouldn't let you on the property. They wouldn't give you the opportunity. They wouldn't share any information. I've always shared information. I've always been peace offering and willing to help anybody. Like the minute the drove up, I wasn't like, fuck off, like it was like
introduced ourselves, and then we started showing each other trail cam photos.
Yeah, that was it. She was like, it was like kids. We're like, look at this deer, and you're like, look at this deer.
Look at this one.
Look at this deer. Look at this one. Ooh, I got this one. That one's so nice. Yeah, and then we carried on with our day, and here we are. But that's not the way it used to be, right? But now you get to that phase. Now we're gonna try and protect what we've established.
Well,
because everybody's trying to hunt, and I love that people want to hunt. I love that people want to get out there and they want to experience it and try it. But I would rather you go out and embarrass yourself than continuously ask other hunters to show them your spots, to show them how to do it, where to go, like figure it out yourself. And I don't want to sound that in a bad way, but the best way to learn the way you like to hunt is by you going out and figuring that out.
Because that's with me is like, if somebody asked me to teach them how to hunt, well, I'm like, okay. So first of all, do all your courses, whatever you got to do. And then I'm going to take you to a spot that I used to hunt, that I know nobody hunts now. And I'm going to say, I know there's deer here. I know the caliper of the deer. It's up to you to set up, to scout it, and to kill one. And I will help you deal with it afterwards.
Yes.
But I'm not going to go in here, tell you to set up here, build your blind, dump your bait. No, like, this is the area you want to go. There's deer here. I can almost guarantee you there's going to be a deer here and that you will get one, but it's up to you to choose where you want to set up and what you're going to do. Yeah. Other than that, call me when you shoot one.
I find there's a lot of people who are eager to get out, and they'll get their licenses and they'll get their first firearm, and they're just so eager that they just want to be given the opportunity to put sights on a deer. But they're missing the fail safe of it all. They're missing like the process. And that's what makes it, because if you can make it a season or two grunting and groaning and complaining and missing and saying, I should have been here, I should have been at home with my kids, coulda, woulda, and then you still come back, then you have that right to go out there and start like really digging into hunting.
Yeah.
But I'm not willing.
With you and, I'll help you scout and stuff, but like, I'm not going to, it's up to you. I'm going to, point out, this is a buck bed, and I'll explain to you, your pinch points, your corridors, and I'm going to different food sources, different covers, different edges, and what's going to benefit you or what I've learned. It may not help you in that area, but at least you now have my knowledge and what I've learned. You can take it into and combine it with your knowledge, and then determine what you're going to do from there. But I'm not going to walk out and be like, this is where you're hunting, because you're going to kill a deer here.
Here comes the deer.
You figure it out yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I've taken 2 people out, and both times have been tragic. So, and subsequently, both people have also been fishermen. You would think you would think that they would have more patience, but I've taken guys out and said and I've brought them out at dusk to like one of my 3 favorite spots to go, where I can almost guarantee this deer is going to come up and lick your face. And all you have to do is sit still and be quiet and be patient. And they just can't do it. They're on their phone. They're not paying attention. Or when I say, okay, now's the time. This is it. You got 25 minutes and the deer this is it. Pay attention. And then all of a sudden they're pacing, or they're moving, or they're adjusting, or they're trying to go, hey, hey. And you're like, shh. And like, you don't understand. Like,
shut the fuck up.
Yeah. You just bumped every deer for a mile. What are you talking? Or then the biggest mistake that I had from a guy was we could hear movement in the bushes for about 10 minutes, and then legal ended. It was over. And I got up and he went, 5 more minutes. And I went, that's not how this works. And he went, 5 more minutes. And I went, no, you're never coming back. Let's go. And I packed up. And as soon as I picked up the bag and put my headlamp on, I heard, and the deer took off. And he was like, oh, there he was. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. But you were not doing 5 more minutes. That's not how this works.
No.
So these are the people you don't want to. No, these are the people you don't want to bring into a hunting society. Is the ones that are kind of willing to stretch it, kind of willing to move it around to suit their own. It's not a good thing.
No.
Now, we had the same thing duck hunting. So I got a question for you. Let me throw you a circumstance. I was set with this circumstance, and it's hard for me because I like to do certain types of things when I hunt, but I also got a guy that I hunt with that is so on the second hunter. He is this is 3/4 of a foot over the property line. We cannot bait. He is so precise, and I don't hit him for that. Like if you want to be to the law, you go right ahead, and I accept that. But here's the circumstance I was pinned with. We were duck hunting. 4 minutes till legal. Bang, 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 bang. We start hearing shots coming across the lake. And now I'm thinking, game on. Somebody shot. This place is about to clear out. Do you shoot? My buddy goes, don't you load that gun. And I went, well, those shots are about to clear this place out. Don't you want to catch anybody going by? And he went, it's not legal for another 4 minutes. So we had a bust hunt. We watched 50, 60 ducks fly by. I accommodated him for what he wanted to do, and we didn't hit a damn duck. Never saw another one for 5 hours. So what do? When someone else busts legal, it's tough. Do you accommodate that?
It's I mean, 4 minutes. Do you take your chances and hope that the wardens are sitting on your side of the lake, or do what he said and just wait, right? Like, you never know.
How do they prove it's you? How do they?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm playing the devil's advocate.
They can prove it's you if they come up and you got ducks in your boat at 4 minutes to legal shooting. But
now are they going to pin you, or they're going to hear the guy across the lake first?
Across the lake, yeah. And the question is like, how many people do that? Because I bet you, 2 to 3 minutes to legal light, and there's a huge flock of geese or a huge flock of ducks coming in. I bet you 95% of people are taking that shot.
Listen, if I had, here's what I would do. If I was 5 minutes before legal, and I could get a flock of geese to circle in once, 5 minutes before legal, if I could get them to turn back and even look like they were going to fan out and drop, I'm going to shoot them. Like 5 minutes is not going to stop me. I know it's a dick move, but like you're not going to get that kind of opportunity. Well, I'm not going to lie. 5 minutes, 4 minutes, I'll make it 4. But if you can get them, because you can't get that kind of opportunity normally here, like that early, they're usually on projection. They're usually on their way somewhere. So if you can get them to turn back on something, that's you don't flip that kind of coin and not take it.
Yeah, geese are a little more iffy, but ducks, if you can get them at least to land and swim around and somehow magically let them swim around for 4 minutes.
They'll nickel and dime. Yeah. The other thing is trying to sneak up on geese. So where I usually goose hunt, we'll end up kayaking in. And 9 times out of 10 in the morning, we can hear them honking pretty early, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And they're already on the water. So we try and canoe past them, go through the inlet, and come around on the back side of them. But they sense movement pretty quick. So the key is figuring out how you can get yourself in a position without them catching you on the way by. Canoeing past them isn't the problem. Getting up on shore, dropping your gear, loading up, and getting within blind range while they're right there, 40 meters,
Yeah.
Then play in your wind. It's all the fun in it.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Figure out these little tips, these little tricks that get you in and out efficiently, and make sure that you have a successful hunt. I mean, it doesn't take much to blow a stand for a whole day. So, with time, with experience, it all comes.
Many of my days. That's the worst part about loading up for a day. You plan all night, you plan all morning, you get in there, and then all of a sudden, that's it. It's over.
Yep. How many duck decoys did you buy? Like, how many did you actually get?
So my deal was, so let's see, 4, 8, 12, 14, 52. All right, hold on. We're on the movement here. Let me move you around. So I actually have like rows and rows and rows and rows and rows and rows and rows. So I ended up tapping up. I think my deal was probably close to 40 or 50 decoys. And I got them for dirt cheap. Absolutely dead dirt cheap. Because they're old. So I don't know. Like, so this is regular old decoy, right? Nothing common about it. A little bit of paint. Buddy said they were all painted. Said he was his grandfather's duck. So I think I got them for less than 200. From what I remember. I don't quite remember, but we showed up in a spot and he pulled out a mesh bag out of the back of his truck and I was like, what am I gonna do with all those? I hang them up in the basement, stick them up with the geese and everything. So now I'm on the pattern of painting them. So I picked up paints and I'm not too familiar with it, but I think it's the best way to go. It gives me something to do until the time goes, right? So you crack off your old one, then you get smart about it, and then you paint yourself a nice fresh one. It's my pretty, and you get them going like that, and they'll pick up some. I'm going to try do a few different colors, different patterns, see if I can get them to pick up differently. I'm going to do
why not?
a couple dozen black ducks. You never know. We got to find a place. So what we need to do is, I know your style of duck hunting is more like wading in water. You got low level water systems where you're from. So I think like we need to find a happy medium because I'm used to doing tidal water. So
we hunted. I hunted a lot of tidal. Like I want to say a majority of my duck hunting is tidal water.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your most common duck hunting?
So we shot a lot of black duck. They'd come in with the tide, right? So we'd watch them. They'd swim up the beach as the tide was coming in, and then they'd turn and they'd come into the river we were set up on. And we'd just blast them. They rarely ever flew over. They always swam up. We call them in, and they'd swim from like 300-400 yards. They'd swim up.
Oh, see, now like the buffleheads we get here, they're the ones I find swim in. They'll land 200-300 meters away and they'll swim in. And I've had them come into my goose decoys. Yeah. They get right excited because it's the same color, right?
No, we shot a good chunk of mallards too, but for the most part, it was just black duck.
Yeah. Where I generally hunt for duck, it's an inlet, nice in and out to the ocean, so I get a lot of water bird, or a lot of saltwater bird. Where it turns into dead water, where a lot of the paddle ducks sit, they do a flyover where my head is. So this is where you and I come in this season, and we pick one off the point.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sorry if hunting bores you.
No, I couldn't hold that one in.
Yeah, no, we got to pick one off the point there, and then that way, instead of them flying over my back shoulder where we sit, we can catch them off the point when they come around and then turn in off 20 meters, and then that way we'll be able to pick off more paddles than divers. Even though like divers are good now because our wives ate them, so divers are good.
Yeah, ate them. Took a bite. And we're like, what the fuck is this?
They tried it. What? That's what counts.
Well, at least they tried it. Well, me and you were there just chowing down on it. Like, this is pretty good.
It tastes like roast beef, and they're like, yeah,
and they're like, yeah. And I feel like, tell me why I support this again.
Yeah, I feel like they were just trying to impress each other. Like it was a bad dare. Like I'll spit it out before you spit it out.
Yeah. Who's gonna spit first?
Exactly. So your wife doesn't eat bear, eh? Are you going to try? I give you some bear.
She's going to listen to this.
Oh, is she?
So I can't tell you.
Oh no.
No, I'm just joking. I might be able to pull it off. I'm either going to sneak it into really like I just might make like a stir fry and slap a little bit of bear in there.
Well, like I gave you the rendered oil. Bear, right? Why don't you start with like doing something just in the bear oil, and then when she goes, "What's this flavor?" You'll go, "It's a secret." And then next time you actually give her the donuts. Yeah, it's a walnut crunch. Next time you cook her some meat, she'll go, "Oh, this has the same flavor as that stir fry you had," and you'll go, "Ta-da! They're both bear." You'll get her into it. Ta-da. My
Oh
wife
yeah,
still won't eat bear. She'll eat
it'll come a
deer
time. I'm
all
sure it
day
will.
long. All day long she'll
Yeah,
eat bear. Or sorry,
I don't.
deer. Um,
I gotta I gotta be a little bit picky on how I cook my deer for her still, but she's getting
really?
into bow. She wants to get into bow hunting and stuff, so she's gonna have to start eating it. Oh.
Does she eat
But
birds?
I'm just joking. I can't. I can't. She doesn't eat much for wild game. She likes moose, but who doesn't?
Yeah, no kidding. I got the benefit of a guy in Newfoundland who they don't get any deer. So he drives
Hmm.
here, brings me a bunch of moose, and I trade him off a bunch of deer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Why not?
Yeah,
No.
it's a fair
She
trade.
likes moose, so hopefully I'll be able to get her some moose meat this year, and maybe get her to start liking some deer and some bear. I think it's
Well,
the
if we want
concept
to,
of what it is, and that that
yeah,
gamey smell, that gamey taste. If you can get rid of that, then
yeah.
they're somewhat anyway.
Well, there's a common misconception with that. You know that, I know that.
Yeah.
To say something is gamey is to say you're either A, a bad cook, or B, you just got it the wrong time of year,
Hmm.
or it's
Yep.
too old. A lot of the times, most of the time, anybody ever said, "Oh, this meat is too gamey," or what it is someone gave someone some game meat long
Hmm.
after they killed it. It was left over in the freezer, and they go,
For two
"I'll give
years,
you
yeah.
some bear. I'll give you some
Yep.
deer." Then they go and eat it, and it tastes like salted codfish. And that's because it's been
Yeah.
sitting there for 18 months. Of course it does. So that's why these unknown people always say, "Oh, game meat." But I've never had bad game meat. I've hung meat, I've not hung meat, and I find it's almost the same. Hung meat is better. For a day or two, good temperatures, you will definitely tighten that meat up properly. But slapping it on a barbecue right away doesn't change a damn thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
No.
as long as you get rid of that tallow fat, you're fine.
Yeah. I mean, it's all preference, and either you were born eating the stuff, or it's an acquired taste, right? And so.
Yeah, well, it's all in your head, right? So like, it's fine if people want to eat store-bought meat. I won't argue, but you're not eating meat. You're eating the blandest form of protein available. Like they just sucked out all of the fun and left you with the residuals.
Yeah, I don't get to stalk and kill this shit, so I don't want to eat it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's our argument, right? Is you just don't even have to know the animal. You don't
Yeah.
have to, you don't get to name it.
That's the thing. They're like, well, I name every deer I shoot. It doesn't
Yeah,
stop me, right?
yeah. Oh yeah. I do. That's how I label them in the fridge, so then I
Yeah.
know which one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, this is a piece off a chunk's ass.
Good old bumper.
Yeah, this one's bumper's neck. Bumper's
I love
dumper.
Bumper's Dumper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, my kids eat it too. My kids will eat anything. So the day that we shot the bear, the first thing I did is I took the full rack of bear ribs. I put them in aluminum foil. I soaked them in Coca-Cola and brown sugar, and I put them on the barbecue for 4 hours. Then when I
Mm.
took them out, I did them in a braise, a nice oil peppered braise, and then I stuck them on the barbecue for another 45 minutes on a slow cook. And my kids
Ooh.
ate every rib dry.
I bet. I bet they did. That
Yep.
brown sugar does wonders.
Brown sugar Coca-Cola, man, kills it all.
Yeah.
Even parasites can't handle that.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna leave this episode here. I'm sure we'll say this is part one because damn well we're gonna continue this conversation
Yeah,
at
it's
another
only going to
day.
get worse. We're just breaking it in.
Yeah, we're just getting used to talking. You can wait until we let loose,
Oh yeah,
get comfortable.
yeah.
It gets pretty silly.
It's
So
it's it gets pretty wild.
none of y'all steal our ideas.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you in the next episode.